guys, today about Spider-Man daily box office. Spider-Man is now a weekend to its box office. Considering they had the Thursday previews, it is now at $385 million worldwide. Not worldwide, domestically. It is not gonna pass Star Wars Force Awakens domestically, but still doing really well legs-wise. Okay, this is if compared to other MCU movies where we've seen, we can look up the Turtles, Nose. This is the Eternals. Okay, but we have to go to the box office. This is the Eternals legs here. It did abysmally. We can look up Black Widow. Yeah. And this is Black Widow's legs, basically performed like the Eternals. And F9, the Fast Saga, which again, the Phantom Menace loves that movie, so you could put Venom with the be Carnage. As well, but they know the Marvel Universe movie, and Venom did worse than most of these movies. And of course, we could put in Shang-Chi as well. And none of them, except for Shang-Chi here, was overperformed because of its holiday weekend. That has remote. The only movie that would bring remotely close as good ratings as Spider-Man No Way Home is Shang-Chi and the Resident of the Ten Rings, and even that movie flatlined over time as as well. So Spider-Man No Way Home, we're going back to Spider-Man No Way Home, and we could compare it to Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, So comparing it to the other two Avengers movies, it is still beating both Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home beat Endgame this week by 8 million. So that means the gap widened with Endgame and Spider-Man by 8 million. Which again, for most of its box office lifespan, Endgame was ahead of Spider-Man by nearly 100 million. Now that gap is shortening to 90 million. Around 90 million. In Infinity War, that gap doesn't even exist with Infinity War. Infinity War gap was like 50 million with Infinity War. So with Endgame and Infinity War, we can see that Spider-Man might actually pass Endgame if it does really well the next 2 days, tomorrow and today, which are the two big days for this movie, which is of course Christmas Eve and of course Christmas Day. And we all know Spider-Man's gonna be the number one movie of both of those days. Okay. And we can compare it to like the Matrix, which is doing abysmally compared to Spider-Man. And it's doing even abysmally compared to Sing 2. Okay. This is the Matrix so far, 15 million here. And Matrix is at 6 out of 10 on IMDb. That's like the worst Matrix movie ever. The average score on IMDb is 6 out of 10. And they're telling you they should just watch it on Netflix. This is ridiculous. No one's gonna watch this movie. Well, that's the problem. They don't really have anything about the box office for Matrix 4 or Sing 2, any of these other movies. So Matrix isn't really doing too well at the box office at all. But again, they haven't updated it for today. Only Spider-Man, they have updated it. We can, of course, include Star Wars as well. You have people comparing Spider-Man No Way Home to the other MCU movies of the year, but Star Wars is not going to beat Star Wars. It's going to probably beat The Last Jedi, though. But actually, Spider-Man No Way Home actually, even though Force Awakens did pass Spider-Man. Spider-Man did beat The Force Awakens on Thursday. Same thing with the first weekend as well, but The Force Awakens did eventually catch up at the box office, but it seems that The Force Awakens might be beaten by Spider-Man. If it outperforms The Force Awakens, it might actually beat The Force Awakens at the box office the next couple of days. But Force Awakens is still only 5 million from No Way Home. Spider-Man can easily catch up if it overperforms like $55 million next day. Saturday, 60 million. If it does like that, Force Awakens is not going to win unless it severely underperforms that next weekend. They'll have to continue overperforming against The Force Awakens as well. Could also put The Last Jedi, but again, The Last Jedi is doing far worse. As we could put in Black Panther as well, which is also one of the highest grossing Marvel movies of all time, as well as Jurassic World, and also the first Avenger could also work as well. Well, so we have Jurassic World as being Jurassic World by 12 million, and Black Panther is beating Black Panther day by day by 15 million at the box office. So Black Panther, it is gonna beat Black Panther at the box office. It's gonna beat Infinity War at the box office. So that means if it beats Black Panther, it's gonna end over $700 million. Will it be Endgame at the end? Well, considering that Endgame's leagues were not that great, it might be Endgame as well. It will probably beat Jurassic World, as obviously beat Jurassic World as box office. So the real only contenders is the Avengers and Star Wars. Yeah, and Star Wars is at 945 million currently. Is at 945 million domestically, and Avengers is at 858. I don't think Spider-Man No Way Home is gonna make $1 billion domestically. It's not gonna happen. But you know, it is gonna make $1 billion worldwide. I don't think it's gonna be the highest grossing movie of all time either. Some people are saying it might become the highest grossing movie of all time, but that's not gonna happen. That's wishful thinking. It'll probably gross over $2 billion at the very least, which is gonna be a lot. And you know, it's gonna probably go like 2.4 to 2.5 billion dollars when China gets its version out, as well. So, because Spider-Man Far From Home did really well in China. Let's go to Spider-Man Far From Home. And all this money is not even included. It's not even with China box office either. Yeah, this is Spider-Man Far From Home. And Spider-Man Far From Home made $205 million internationally at the box office. And Spider-Man No Way Home is beating out Far From Home massively. Spider-Man No Way Home is going to beat Far From Home's domestic total tomorrow, actually, not next week, tomorrow, actually. Not Far From Home. No Way Home is going to beat Far From Home very easily. No Way Home should be able to beat Far From Home. It's only going to beat Far From Home's domestic box office within a week, tomorrow. Because they have yesterday's numbers. Now we have today's numbers, was going to pass No Way Home. Far From Home at the box office. It will only be Homecoming only made like $313 million domestically as well. Okay. And you can compare it to other Spider-Mans as well. Okay. We're in Homecoming. We can put in Far From Home. And we can, of course, put in the old Spider-Mans as well. Even with I can put an adjusted for inflation with Spider-Man 2. Okay, with Spider-Man 2 made $550 million domestically and adjusted for inflation. And the first Spider-Man, yeah. And if Google adjusted for inflation, might be the highest grossing Spider-Man movie in history. We're gonna ask Good Far From Home because Far From Home's numbers is cursed. And this is No Way Home. No Way Home is beating Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man, even adjusted for inflation. It's being the Homecoming as well. But it is being both of these movies adjusted for inflation. Which, the highest grossing Spider-Man movie in history will be a non. So we can compare this with the other Spider-Man movies. And we can put in Infinity War and Endgame as well. Well, it's Endgame still has a gap over for Spider-Man, but it is gonna beat the other Spider-Man movies. So if it performs like this, it should do like this. But of course we're gonna have that Christmas weekend and where it hasn't even come for Spider-Man No Way Home yet. And we can get rid of Spider-Man Homecoming. There was literally no point even including that movie. But yeah, this is Star Wars The Force Awakens, and Spider-Man is doing very similar to Star Wars Force Awakens at the box office. So I don't know if it will beat Spider-Man, it will beat The Force Awakens, but it has a good chance of being Infinity War and Endgame at the box office. Yeah. So that's basically about this video. Goodbye.